Hey everyone, happy Friday, and this is another episode of the weird podcast type thing that I do on Fridays now. You know, where it's more relaxed and less formal and more just me talking about stuff. In this one, I figured that I would talk about reality glitches, or as some people know them, glitches in the Matrix and terms like that. Now, a lot of this does cross over with the Mandela effect, which I won't really be talking about in this. I figured that's been talked about to death by everyone else, so I figured I'll just leave that to them. And I'll talk about some weird reality glitches or glitches in the Matrix as people have come to know them. So, first of all, what are they for people who may not know? It kind of coincides with the fact that our universe or our reality may be a simulation, and whenever there's like an error or a glitch in this one, you see weird stuff or weird things happen, or deja vu happens, or things that you've seen or experienced already happen again. It can take on a great many forms. There's even some people who believe that whenever you see a ghost or like something that isn't really there, like I've covered stories on this channel where somebody goes to like an entire town and it's just gone the next time they go, that would be a glitch in the Matrix. A big one, but that would be a glitch in the Matrix. So what I have here are some examples of very mild ones, and then I have a really big one. That was something someone sent in to me who wishes to remain anonymous. So this first one, and I'll link them in the description, this first one is very mild compared to a lot of other ones. It would be very disturbing for the person that it happened to, but considering some of the other more bigger, severe ones, it would be less as crazy. So this first one is somebody who, when they were a kid, they were just eating ice cream. They remembered eating chocolate ice cream, and as they're eating away, a bit of melted ice cream falls off of the cone and onto their skin. And then what happens is weird. They take a napkin to clean it up, but the stain of the chocolate ice cream stays on their leg, and it won't come off. Now, obviously a bit bewildered, confused, and probably a little scared, this person goes to their mother, and their mother says, "What are you talking about? That was always there. It's a birthmark." And the person still has it to this day. That little thing that looks like the exact same shape as the splotch of ice cream just apparently has always been there. So, what do you think happened there? Do you think that that was truly a glitch in the Matrix? Or do you think that they just didn't notice it, and that's the time that they finally did? Now for me, speaking of birthmarks, I had a birthmark on my inner leg that looked kind of like a bullet hole, and we used to joke about saying that, oh, that's how I died in a past life. And then one random day, I was in the shower, and I just noticed that it was gone, and I've never seen it since. It's kind of weird. Not really a glitch in the Matrix, just kind of made me think of that. But this next one was experienced by more than one person. It says, I had a friend who was convinced that something was wrong with the area between a nearby town and his home, or maybe it was his car. He claimed that many times he'd leave work and somehow be home 5 minutes later when it was a 15 to 20 minute drive. It was crazy. And he wasn't the only one to experience it either. It happened to a few friends that rode with him. Definitely weird stuff. Now some people might be thinking, like, oh, I wish I could make a drive in that amount of time. But the thing is, you'd still be able to account for that time that has passed. In this case, none of them can. It's a 15 to 20 minute drive, and suddenly they're there in 5 minutes. And not only that, but they have zero memory of anything that happened during that time. So, for a lot of people, that would be disturbing. Even just losing 5 minutes or 15 minutes is a lot for some people. Because, as humans, we like to be aware of what we're doing. And then suddenly it feels like you're not in control, or something happened during that time that was so severe that you can't remember. It can definitely be disturbing for a lot of people. Now I know some people might think that during this time he may have been abducted. It would be a whole different can of disturbing worms, I guess is the term there. But it would be very disturbing for somebody to just lose 5 minutes and it turns out that they were on some weird spaceship for 3 days and don't remember any of it. There's also a possibility that he just drove really, really fast and somehow didn't crash. I know for me, I mentioned it before in another video, like two years ago, I think, where I was driving home from the city, and there's this stretch of road that takes about 20 minutes or half hour, depending on how fast you drive. It takes that long to get from one end of this section to the other. Usually, I have my window down. Even in the wintertime, I have my window down. No idea why, I think I just like the cold air. But, so this section, like I said, takes that amount of time. And when I got to that section, suddenly it's like a blink happened. And I'm at the end of it. And not only am I at the end of it, my stereo is muted, my windows are up, and when I unmute the radio, it's not even a station that I listen to. So this was a little weird for me. Even now, I didn't really question too much of what happened. I just more said, damn, that's crazy. And I just kind of continued on. So yeah, I do know what it's like to make that trip in such a short amount of time and just wondering what the hell happened. And this next one is about phone calls. I was sitting in my office one day when my desk phone rings, and it's my undersheriff asking me to bring him all the reports and dispatch logs and any documentation referencing a specific thing. So I get it all together and start towards his office. I meet him in the hallway and hand him the paperwork. He asked what it was, looking confused. I told him, it's the X documentation that you asked for. He swears that he never asked me for it, that he had just arrived and had not called my office. In fact, he was on his way down to ask me in person to get it together. So what do you think happened here? Do you think that it was like a phone call from like a different dimension? A phone call from the future or something like that? If we go down the avenue that this is from a different dimension, and so would be a glitch because it came over to our reality, I guess, if that's how you want to look at it, that the person or version of him from that reality would not have got this phone call and would not have got this paperwork together and probably got yelled at. But it crossed over and he got it. He got the paperwork together before he was asked for it in person. So it looks like that he's just really on top of things. Whereas the other guy may have got yelled at and be like, oh, well, I was talking to you on the phone, why didn't you do it? And went right from there. It's like two different trajectories almost. Now I'm probably drawing too much into it, but like, it's just weird to think about or cool to think about. And, you know, that's what this is for, just to kind of talk about things like this. And then there's this one. Has anyone heard of graveyards appearing out of nowhere or seen one? I got my own story that happened to me. In April of 2023, I just moved across country to move to Tennessee. I was having a late night walk around 2 a.m., just trying to get used to the place. It was nice and quiet. The moon was bright. I was trying to get home, but I can't find the path where I came from. As I'm walking around, I see a large graveyard spanning across this area. Now I know that I'm officially lost. I end up getting out my phone and looking up directions. Using Google Maps and pinging my location. My internet was being awful because it just is, but after waiting anxiously, it finally loads up where I'm at. But it doesn't show a graveyard, but I think, whatever, I'll just use it to find the right path. It turns out that I just made a turn too early. I easily get back home and call it a night. Later on, I'm wondering about the graveyard. I didn't know that there was a huge one right next to my house, so I wanted to go see it. That next day, I drive over to where the graveyard would be, and there isn't one. It's just a different set of buildings. I drive around the area wondering where it is. I look at the map again. There's still no graveyard. There's only small ones, and not even close to where I was before. I still have no explanation for why I saw one. The graveyard was your typical one where there's many tombstones all in a row, extending over a pretty large area visibly not the buildings that are there now. Even after driving by the area at night, it looks just like nothing at all like what I saw. I have no explanation for this, other than that maybe I just hallucinated the whole thing. So what do you think that was? Do you think that he really did just hallucinate an entire graveyard? Or do you think that maybe he somehow crossed over to a different world? To maybe the future? Who knows? It's one of those things where it's too bad that he didn't, look at the tombstones to see what was on them. I have to wonder if it would be like in the distant past, or if it would be like an alternate present, or even in the future. Or maybe it'd be like whenever you see the writing on like an AI picture, how it's all really creepy looking. It may have been like that, you never know. But what do you think happened there? Do you think that he crossed over, or do you think it was just truly a glitch in the Matrix? And this person had a similar experience. He says, me and my dad were walking through my grandma's land. It was just basic hiking and stuff. And then all of a sudden, we find random unmarked graves. A whole bunch of them. It was like a graveyard. Tombstones, all from the 1830s, in the middle of bum nowhere. It was in the backwoods of Mississippi. We ended up feeling weird about the whole area, and intrigued. We leave, and later on ask my grandma, and she had no idea what we were talking about. We went there recently, and some of the tombstones had either fallen out of place or just disappeared, flat out. So have you ever had something like this happen, where you were walking in the woods and just found a graveyard that seemed to be out of place, or even out of time? Another experience. This just happened quite recently. I was heading towards a place from a train station that was being remodeled, and there's a huge chunk that's under construction. I got a bit lost in the area, and my Google Maps was telling me that I should go through this one path, but I couldn't, since the whole area was basically off limits, and I should take a detour. This was some busy underpass with people going to the platforms, and there was a big temporary plywood wall with big signs of under construction, unauthorized access forbidden, no entry. And then this part got weird. That plywood wall had a plywood door, and people were entering and exiting it like a normal busy door. Completely normal looking people that looked like they don't belong in a construction area. Some old woman even entered it. So then I thought that the map was working fine. I decided to go through this door. And then it got weirder. On the other side was just a huge empty area, completely under construction. An area of sand, piles of gravel, some pillars and construction in the distance. The edge of the underpass was completely unfinished. I was really confused, since I wasn't far behind the last person who went through this door, and I had no idea where the guy went. There was no path. It didn't seem to look like there was some path where the people would have gone. There's a big gravel road in front of me, going a bit off to the side, and the map was telling me to follow a similar path. So I thought maybe I should check it out a bit, except a big Caterpillar tractor sped up along the road. I wasn't planning to walk near that. I saw the guy in the tractor looking at me, confused. So the next thing I thought was to go back, since I shouldn't even be here. I opened the door, and a few people were walking away to a platform, looked at me weirdly, like I did when I saw people opening the door. No one entered after I went through, nor did anyone come out. So after that, I just had to take the detour, since I was in a hurry anyways, and I forgot about this for the rest of the day. Now, upon reading this, my first thought as somebody who plays video games was, oh, they found a spawn point. But what do you think happened there? Do you think that those people really were there? Do you think that they went somewhere else? Do you think it was a weird hallucination, or what? Or do you think it was just, again, a glitch in the Matrix? So what do you think glitches in the Matrix or reality glitches are? Let me know down in the comments. If you have one of your own, feel free to leave it down there as well. And with that, I think I will see you in Sunday's video. It's going to be about Tennessee, so make sure to tune in for that one, because it's really good. And If you liked the video, feel free to like and subscribe, and check out the regular videos that I put up on this channel. And of course, I have a PayPal and a Patreon in the description as always. And yeah, I will see you in the next one. Thank you for pulling up a stump, and thank you for watching this Friday podcast conversation ramble thing. So yeah, I'll see you Sunday. Make sure to stay happy, healthy, and hydrated this weekend.